Good morning, Springfield. Thank you for that.
We gotta get you some intro music.
Yes, quick. No, I do. I'm working on it. Tawana's song,
Yes, Tawana's song.
the "Dancing on the Clouds." By the way, I read a book. I'm reading this book, and it actually put in there. You
Here we
need
go.
to.
Let's see if I can do this.
Oh yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
There's some music.
This is his song.
It's a good song.
It is.
By his blood I've been set free. His sacrifice saved my soul. Without his light to show the way, I'd fall in the deep cold.
we need to have some uplifting music. Well, good morning, Springfield, and I'm Steve, Reverend Mickey Mac McAllister, or in other words, we'll get to that in a little bit. The Mactastic. Well, that's actually Matt's deal.
Reverend Steve Mickey Mactastic.
Yeah, that was yours, and then Pastor Paul's is Reverend Mickey Mac.
Yeah.
Reverend Mickey Mac's in the house.
My nicknames tend to stick.
Yes, it did. It did throughout all the whole church time ever since you found out that. I come in on Wednesday morning or Wednesday nights and it's, hey, look, it's Stephen or Reverend Mickey Mactastic. Anyway.
But that was after Pappy Steve.
Oh, that was after. You're right, Pappy Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so we have a great show for you, but I just want to tell you that, folks, the weekend that I just went through was unbelievable. It's through Braveheart Workshops. It's hope, health, and healing. That was the name of the title. And there was a lot of healing and there was a lot of hope going out. And I've got a lot of guests coming up from that workshop that are going to be on my future shows. And we want you to tune in. And I think we're going to be able to have that available for you to watch. So if you weren't there, we'll have a chance for you to watch that. So I'll give you more details later. Also, we've got a it's it's going to be hot here, folks. So we're looking at 96 degrees today here in Springfield and Branson, and we got a heat index of 103, 104 for the next couple of days. So stay hydrated. All right. Well, my guest. What can I say?
Oh,
this young man has been on my shirt tail for what, 5 years? No, actually,
probably longer.
probably 7 or 8.
Yep.
At least. And but he's an accomplished author. I think you are an accomplished author.
Thank you.
And he's a busy guy. He works at Fritz Adventures, and he works at. By the way, that's no sponsor, not yet. So, and then we have. Let's see, what else do you do? Oh yeah, he's the director of Cubbies at First Baptist Church Branson, which starts tonight.
It does start tonight.
Oh man, and
we got the meet and greet and get to love on some kiddos.
Yeah, and and you get to meet some new ones and say goodbye to the the older ones,
the ones that are growing up.
Yeah, the ones that are growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I wish Pappy Steve was there, but maybe he'll be there.
You never know when Pappy Steve might show up.
Anyway, we want to welcome Michael Miller, and we know we've got an audience of at least 2 or 3 from First Baptist watching. So do a good job, Michael.
Absolutely. Otherwise, I will hear about it.
I'm sure you will. So he's been watching my show. He's been watching The Morning Drive. He was I think this is Michael Miller, and we have some things to talk about, some fun things, some serious things, but it's going to be a fun conversation. So put your seatbelt on and let's go.
Click.
So, Michael, tell us a little bit about yourself first so we get to know you.
Absolutely. So my name is Michael Miller. I am from Texas. I moved here 11 years ago to Ozark, and then moved to Branson about a year and a half later. That's when I became a member over at First Baptist Church Branson. That long story short, I made some really great relationships that led me over to um, the Fritz's Adventures. I am a lead in our Outfitters, which is our retail store. I get to hopefully challenge and mentor and help some teenagers and some young people grow. This Saturday is my 44th birthday.
What, 44? Wow.
Yep.
I
And
remember those days.
yeah, I will. And one day when I have the silver lining in my hair, just like Steve does, then I will say those words to people my age too.
Oh, man. And boy, did I deserve these silver linings too.
Oh, yes, you do. Yes, you do. Steve's got a great story, and I'm proud to call him a friend and even sometimes a mentor, because he does listen really, really well.
Thank you. Yes, I do try.
Trying is the operative word there.
Yes. I met Michael back, I think it was at Ozark Technical College. And he was doing a computer class. I think you were teaching a computer class.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a math class right after that. And of course, we were having, I guess you guys had to wait for us to get out of the class before you got in there. And I'd see him standing up against the wall, and we started just chit chatting a little bit. And then next thing I know, it's like, well, where do you go to church? Huh? I go to First Baptist Branson. What? So that's how we really started things off. I'm not going to bore you with the details, other than it was it was the start of a great friendship, and still is. And I miss him. I know he's doing what he's doing at church, and God's going to bless you for what you're doing, especially because of what you've missed something, and I missed something. But we're going to talk about how did you get up with, or how did you get connected with Focus on the Family?
Oh, yeah. So to rewind a little bit, that OTC from 2014 to 2016, I got to do an adjunct position. During that time, I actually applied to become a online mentor for Focus on the Family, and which then changed over to a digital outreach volunteer. And you do go through an application process where they interview you and choose you to answer questions that they send you every week. It can be any certain number of them. I requested between 5 and 7 questions a week, and that's how it all got started in about 2016.
Okay, man. And that's a big honor to be part of that team and everything. So have you been out there to Colorado Springs?
Not yet. I was planning a trip pre-COVID, and then COVID hit, and I didn't get a chance to go. So
wow.
hopefully in the next couple of years, when I can get some student loans paid down, probably try to do that again.
Yeah, those student loans can be a kink in the machinery. Yes, they can. So, well, there's a book that you wrote. I mean, how long ago? I forgot the book to bring it, but I can ask you about the book and what it entails, and then you can give us the information on where you can get that book.
Yeah, absolutely. So my book is titled Not I Leadership, an Employee's View of Grace-Based Leadership. So the idea behind it, the book, is about Jesus Christ and how he trained 12 men that most people didn't really know, and we're still talking about them 2,000 years later. If that's not motivation, I don't know what is. because any kind of mentor or motivator will be able to impact the future generations. Um, I've actually recently edited the book, so I will be coming out with a revised edition after the editing process comes out. And so be watching for that on Amazon, titled still, Not I, comma, Leadership, Michael Miller. If you search there, then you will be able to find my book.
Okay. What's the price on it?
And it's $14.99.
Okay. Great price. I mean, a lot of books that I've seen recent, not that the price is a big thing, because what's in between the page or the book, the front and the back, that's the most important. So every dime that you spend on books like that is well worth it.
Absolutely.
And
So
it depends
I've
on
got
if you know
several
the
new
author.
ones,
Then you can make a deal.
Let's make a deal.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor either.
Anyway, we love saying that. That's a phrase that we love to say around here, isn't it, Matt?
Yeah, not so much anymore, but yeah, we used to say it all the time. Not a sponsor. There you go. I got your name badge up there now.
Oh, phew.
Thank you.
Oh, did you spell it right?
Not I, comma, leadership.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. All right. See, he's with it this morning.
He asked all the right questions when I got here before you.
Oh man, you want to trade seats?
No, me and Steve do have a great friendship. I tease him. If you see me go like this, he definitely knows what that means, and he will laugh every single time.
Oh yeah, and I can't help it because he did get me on that, and ever since then it's been a fun joke, and I laugh at it, and there's jokes that you laugh at and jokes that you go what, but not him. The jokes are definitely funny, and
I can't really say that around teenagers, but I'm glad to have Steve in my pocket right here.
Yeah, I'm there 24/7.
Dun, dun, dun.
No, but I'm always there to help him out. He's always there to help me out. So the show's about you and what you've accomplished, and you've accomplished a lot. And of course, you've had some highs and you've had some lows. Is there anything that you want to praise the Lord about as far as I think there was a couple things that you wanted to talk about. I wasn't quite sure. I haven't talked to you in a couple days.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to praise Jesus because he is the author and the perfecter of my faith. He is the one that gives me hope and peace, contentment and joy. And these are the things that really matter. And to tie that into my book and the Not I Leadership, it really comes down to the message that when you have a peaceful work environment, people can learn, grow, and change because of the transformative power of Jesus Christ.
Amen.
And he's the one that created it all. He's the one that perfects it all. And we are the ones that get to reap the benefits of it because we get to be a part of it. And my relationship with Steve is a big part of that because we've done men's Bible study. We've lived life together. He makes me laugh. He lets me cry. And he knows that we're all human. I know about Steve, the struggles that he has, and I respect him because he is a man of God and he still keeps living the faith in spite of the things that he does have to work through. And so he is one of my best friends. I can honestly say that. And that's a title not easily earned. The title means that we've lived life together and we've trusted and we've worked together and we've done things that has shared the gospel of Jesus with young people, with older people, with people my age or younger. And that's why I respect him. He's a great guy. And I just want to put that out there because I do respect him. And he's a big part of even the book that I wrote. He's a big part to my life in general because I get to share it with him.
And that's really important to have friendships like that. And you took the words right out of my mouth as far as me to you. You couldn't have said it better from me to you. because friendships, they have their ups and their downs, and if you don't have any downs in that friendship, then that's not a true friendship.
Right.
And you have to realize that when you, just like I learned over the weekend, connect the dots, and we've definitely connected the dots. And I definitely connected the dots with several people there, but then, about my life story, about their life story, and we were able to really come together. And now we've got a friendship relationship, and I'm able to contact them anytime. They're able to contact me, and just same with you and I. And that's what friendship's all about, is when you can connect with one another and build that relationship, and um, just really connect. So connect. I'm I'm at a loss for it. I'm a little tired this morning. It's been a long 2 days. COVID really just messed Rachel and I up, and I've gone through several physical situations, I
Mhm.
guess, several surgeries, and but the Lord's brought me out, and that He's brought me out on that silver lining, because I went through dark clouds, several dark clouds, and every time I've been told that I see the silver lining on the other side.
Mhm.
And that's what also, but it's not just about me. It's about me wanting to do the same thing for Michael or for whoever. If they're going through dark clouds, I want to help. God's going to be our silver lining, but I want to be able to lead them and let them know that there is a silver lining at the end of their trials.
Which is the message of hope. And the way that we get there is only through faith. I myself, I haven't gone through physical trials, but I've gone through emotional trials. And Steve was there 100% along the way. And there were just times that I went on my 30-minute lunch break, found him at his office, which is also not a sponsor. And and we just laugh. We just laugh so hard. He's brought me to tears many, many times. And it's over just stuff in life and how we just overcame it, and how God gets all the glory and all the praise, because it was the only way that we could have gotten through it. And so what
Yeah.
Steve is referring to is I did go through a divorce 4 years ago. It was a painful process, but at the end of right after the end of the event, I got in my car and I started driving down the street, and I literally saw the silver lining. It was the sunbeams shining through the clouds to where I was located at. And all I felt in my heart was that God said, I'm with you. So let's walk this together. And it was painful. It was a struggle. I fought for what I thought was right, and I didn't get what I thought was going to be the result. And that's okay. I don't regret that time at all, because I got to see God before, during, and after. I call it the Trail of Breadcrumbs, and because just like is it Goldilocks? I can't remember the story, but they
It's
followed
okay.
a trail of breadcrumbs, um, to what they found was the better outcome. And that's what God has always been to me. That's what He's always been to, hopefully, the people that I've got to mentor, or the people that I've got to share the gospel with. I know one thing for sure is that when I get to level some 4-year-olds in Awana, with a team of 11 people that I value and respect, and get to the chance to uplift, I get to see Jesus. And that's really all that matters now.
Hmm. And with the WANA, you started out just assisting and helping out the directors at the time.
Mhm.
And, I did see I saw a lot of director in you. And I thought, if something ever happened to those guys, that couple, I wonder if Michael would end up being the director. And here you are, this is your
Yep.
second year as director. And the kids just love on this guy. And they really respect him, and the parents respect Michael, and they really have gotten to know him, and building a relationship with them. And so when they move on, they always say, "I'll never forget when." And that's what you're also doing with those kids. Those kids are actually moving up into Sparks, and then eventually up into the Truth and Training, and they come back and they remember you, just like I did when I worked with the Truth and Training gang. A lot of them are like their voices are changing now, and they're like, "Hey, Mr. Steve, I remember when you did this for me, and we did memory verses." And it's like, what happened to your voice? They're
That's
like
called
in
growing up.
yeah, they're like in middle school, like in eighth and ninth grade, and they're like, "Hey, Mr. Steve," and I'm like, man. So it's actually Pappy Steve to the 4 and 5-year-olds.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Which is a great story in and of itself. There was just one day we were doing a one as Steve was being the storyteller. Like this was last year during my first year of being the director, and I walked in to the room and said, "All right, guys, are you ready to see Pappy Steve?" Just right off the bat, he didn't even know it was coming, and he was like, "Huh? What? What are you talking about?" And that's where Pappy Steve was born.
He walked in because he heard about a friend of mine who he was actually my first guest, Kevin Nelson. And Kevin and Rochelle, if you're watching, God bless you. We love you, or I love you. Rachel loves you. And he has this comedic side, or what would you call what's the twin? Ozark Nelson.
Oh no,
Ozark Nelson.
right.
And so I started saying I shouldn't really use his name Ozark, and I'm like, Ozark Steve, Ozark. And so he comes in the room and he says, "So kids, are you ready to listen to Pappy Steve?" I'm like, "What? Oh no." So I just said, "Okay." And Pappy Steve is born. So let's get in. So the kids would come in and I'd pretend like I was sleeping, like, and okay, let's wake them up. And Pappy Steve, oh, hey, wow, look at all these little youngins here.
And eventually they just started running up to him, shaking him, wake up, Pappy Steve.
And then the hugs came. We have to be, if you're teachers in church or wherever, nowadays you have to be really careful how you hug. The side hug is the best, or high five, because when little kids, they don't know that. They want to automatically hug you from the front. And we have to be careful because we might be innocent, but it might look a little different to somebody else. And so we have to always remember, as church leaders, that that we have to remember that use proper guidelines when it comes to children's safety, and that, because here at our church I'm going to start doing background checks and things before they actually get involved. It's just proper.
And that's a big part of our leadership in our church also, is that we actually do that. We do go through a similar process. We have a safety protocol that we have set in place for that reason, because we still want to share the gospel, not just with our words, but also with our actions. And one of the ways that we do that is by protecting our children. And so our parents trust us with their kids. They go off to their classes, they go off to volunteer in other areas, but they trust us with their kids. And so being believers, we want to show the love of God, but we want to do it that's going to honor him and protect the children as well. And that is a really big part to any organization. Princess Adventures is one of our biggest, in fact, our number one thing that we do practice 100% of the time is safety. We want to stay safe. We want to keep people safe. We want people to enjoy themselves in a safe way. And so that is one of the things that we do to learn and to teach our children that we work with, teenagers, 16-year-olds. They are, for lack of a better word, drilled into this area. Another big part of our organization is the joy part of it. It's just fun going in. Let's do some climbing. Let's zip line. Let's do things like this. But let's do it safely, and let's teach our people to be safe also, but so that they can have fun. Because if you're having fun and things can happen, but if you can have fun safely, then you're going to have a lot bigger outcome.
Yeah, and depending on the people that you're working with or the leaders that are there, if the parents or the kids see that in you, they're going to even have more fun, because then they build that trust in you, and they come back again and again and again, because they know that they can come up to you, or know that, hey, hello, do they call you Michael or
They call me Michael. They call me Mr. Miller. I even have somebody that comes in on a regular basis run up and give me a hug. So
that's really cool.
yeah,
You don't see that in many places like that. They just come and all they want to do is just like, hi, and they're running and doing whatever, like Big Air or whatever. Not a sponsor. And I know that's that's going to be annoying after a while. So we got to watch how much we say that.
right.
But no, but with in big, Fritz Adventure, they uh, they have Christian values.
Oh yeah, so our owners, our chief operation officer, our chief marketing officer are all believers.
And that's a big thing in these attractions that we have here in Branson, is a lot of them are Christian owned, or they have Christian values. And even at the track, they used to have a sign out there: if you have any shirts that detest or have any vulgar names on them or using vulgar language, they'll kick them out. I mean, I shouldn't say kick them out, but they'll remove them, because they don't want that in their parks.
Mhm.
And you don't see that very. This is the only place that I know of that they stand their ground on that.
That's pretty awesome. We won't I don't want to use the word discriminate. We'll still let people come in and play. They're still going to come in and work with us. But we also accept where they're at, because we love people where they're at, just like Jesus loved us where we were at before we knew him. And that's really the main message that we try to send to everybody is we're going to love you no matter whatever your agenda is. We want you to have a good time. We want you to have the hope that Jesus gave to us. And that's really what it comes down to for me. It comes down to my book, is when you read it, you're going to see the fruits of the Spirit in there: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, faithfulness, goodness, and self-control. These are all the things that are going to motivate people to not only be safe, but to have a good time while doing it. So Jesus was the prime example when he was talking to Peter right after Peter denied him 3 times. Did he condemn him? No, he didn't. He reminded him of who he was in Christ. And he's like, do you love me, Peter? And he said that 3 times, and Peter just broke and said, yes, I love you. Then he's like, let's go do the work again. And that's what it's all about. Jesus is the one who gives us our hope. He's the one that gives us salvation. He's the one that gave us peace of mind, contentment, because all of these things come from patience. And these are the things that I've struggled with throughout my life. Steve may have realized this. I don't know if he has or not. Maybe I've hit it well, but I struggle with anger. But when I have contentment in my heart, when I have peace in my heart, anger's not there, and I can walk on water, because just like Peter did towards Jesus. But as soon as I look towards the anger, I start to sink, and Jesus has to pull me out. And so that's a big part of my faith journey. It's a big part of even where my book came from. And that's a big part of even the relationship that I have now that started during the time that I was struggling.
And that's important, and folks, if you're struggling and you need to reach out, you can always contact somebody here to talk to somebody at X Media Group. But if you have somebody at your church that you can reach out to, have that one person be that one that you can go to cry to laugh with. But if you're struggling, do reach out to somebody that you know that you can trust. And it's really important because if you don't, you're going to sink, like you said, you're going to sink. And some people sink to the bottom, and it's hard for them to climb back out. Like I learned this past weekend, they had to go through a lot of struggles in order, I mean, hard struggles and rock bottom before they could start seeing the light again. And that's what I think you went through a few times, during your divorce. You went through some real painful issues and some painful times, and with your kids. Now, do you have a relationship with your kids?
Unfortunately, not anymore. So that's just a struggle, but God's given me 35 cubbies to get to love on.
Yeah, that's a good equal, thing. They might be younger, they might not be yours physically, but you get a chance to see those kids once a week, and they make up for that. And of course, I know you love your kids. You'll always love your kids. And I guess they're teenagers now, aren't they?
Mine's almost 20.
Oh
So,
man.
Yeah, they're both in college. One got accepted to C of O. So
Wow.
she's following her dream. The other one has been in college for over a year, and he's following his dream. So they're living life now.
Oh, good. So, man, well, we need to pray for Michael and that situation, to where one day that those kids will have a soft heart, that they'll be able to come back and say, "Dad, I want a relationship again."
Just to clarify, they were my stepchildren. I've never
Oh,
had
that's
biological children.
I've
They were my children,
yes.
but just to clarify it.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Mhm.
So you told me that a while back, and I just forgot.
You wouldn't have known it if you saw us together anyway. That's that silver lining, right?
Yes, we all have silver linings. We just got to get through the dark clouds, and that's really important. It's not about my dark clouds. When I have guests on here, it's not about my story and my cloud. I can connect, but it's about who I have on, that I want to hear from them and hear their stories of um, being down and out, and being able to see the silver lining in their relationship. And again, I guess it was, man, how many years ago? That must have been mm, 2 years ago that I shared my story. I had a guest that didn't show up, folks, and I don't know how long you've been watching my show, but there was one episode where I had Johnny Rooster, and I had Matt, and I had Jay, and my guest didn't show up, and I ended up giving my testimony, and I that was the first time that I'd ever shared that particular testimony, in public, ever. And the Lord gave me the words, and gave me the wisdom, and gave me just a lot of power, a lot of strength to get through it. But I was able to do it, and that I didn't think I'd ever say anything like that. But that's what this show is all about: is
Mhm.
sharing your heart, and being able to share with others in case they're going through the same thing. And you were going to say something?
I wasn't going to say anything.
Oh, I thought you were getting ready to say something. So, going back to the I just had a brain freeze. Focus on the family.
Hmm.
What have you learned from that?
That whenever you share your story, you gain hope, but you're also sharing hope with others. And it's important to realize that, again, it's not about you, that it is about them. It's not about it's about whom you're serving. And so I get questions once a week over several different categories. Um, One of them is depression, and I get to share my story of when I was depressed and how God pulled me through it. And even if I don't mention God, he is still seen in the example because of the hope and the friendships that are alongside you that he brought into your existence.
Mm-hmm. And that's important too, and that's why they chose you, because they saw in you the hope that you can give to others.
The hope is Jesus.
The
That's
hope
all
is
I
Jesus.
have. That's all I have.
And that's good because most guests, and I'm not talking about any of the guests that I've had here but you got guests that sometimes you can tell if they're not just movie stars, but they have a self. They look at their self and go, I'm this and I'm that and I'm this, and it's called pride.
Hmm.
And we know what the center letter of pride is.
I.
Yeah,
It's like a big capital I.
and that's what we don't want. We don't want to focus on I. We want to focus on you, the participants, and you, the congregation. And I, yes, you're my congregation today. I am a
Steve's got
pastor.
a pretty big congregation. Reverend old Mickey McTassick over here. He does get around and he does touch a lot of lives.
Yeah, and believe it or not, he teases about um, being in my office, but people have stopped by. Even the people that work there have know who I am now, and they do come by and they ask me questions, and they actually talk to me. So it's during their breaks or whatever. They got to be careful with their breaks because they have. They have a timed break. But anyway, that's really neat that I'm able to share that, not just the gospel, but share and be able to answer questions when I can. Man, time's flown, Michael.
Yeah, it has. This has
And
been a great time, Steve, and I thank you for letting me be on the show and to share the truth of the gospel and part of my story. So thank you.
yeah, so is there going to be? You said there's a revised version. You know when that book's coming out?
Right now, another author friend of mine is editing it. He's about halfway through as of yesterday. So we're probably looking at least about 2 weeks before it'll be back out in Amazon. But you can buy the first copy edition through Amazon.com. Just search for "Not I, comma Leadership," Michael Miller, and you'll pull it right up.
Oh, that's great. Well, man, stay tuned for. I guess do we have
It's
another?
your call.
It's your call. That's
Followed by changing time.
and then changing times right after that with Len Morris and Don Blackard, and but Johnny Penny and Dwayne Long. Johnny Penny's a friend of mine, and we hope you stay tuned for It's Your Call and changing times after that. God bless you, and we really appreciate you being on the show today, Michael, and thank you for tuning in, folks, and hope to see you next week. Take care.